Hey, good morning, it's Dre. Hopefully, you're having an excellent day. Always thankful for our time together. It's always good for us to be able to strive together as we continue chasing happiness by rising to the challenge. We're going to continue with the theme that we've started this week where we just focus really on the mindset of Kobe. As I've mentioned, to me, Kobe Bryant's mindset, that is what I remember him most by. Not as much as the basketball as it is just the brilliance and the way that he interacted with the world, how he was able to accomplish a lot of his goals. And when you're trying to accomplish some of the goals you have set for yourself, it's often a good idea to mirror other successful people. What is it that they did? How did they overcome different obstacles? And what decisions did they make along the way to help themselves? And you'll find that as we discuss today, we're going to talk about really just the commitment to your overall goal. And so we're going to break this into three sections because that is where I was listening to a couple interviews with Kobe, and he was talking a little bit about how he prepared himself for the basketball season, for his goal to get in the NBA, even from high school. And he had what he called a kill list. And he said that it's essentially that he would look at the rankings and he would see where he was ranked out of the high school basketball athletes. And he said he was somewhere around in like the 50s, like 53, 54. And he said that anytime that there was a game where he could play someone ranked higher than him, then he would prepare for that game and he would attack that person. He would essentially dominate them so that everybody would see that, yeah, Kobe should be ranked higher than this person. And it's that mindset, that commitment, that overall confidence with himself, but also backing it up with the preparation, right? Like how many of us would have that chip on our shoulder, but we really haven't done anything with that chip where we're just like, yeah, I don't like the politics or I don't like the way that this was portrayed of me. I don't really enjoy the way that happened, but what have you done to change your environment? See, Kobe, he was frustrated that he was ranked in the 50s, which, by the way, a lot of people will be very comfortable with that. But because in his mind he wants to be the best that he can be, the best ever, he kept a list of where each of these people were when he played them, and he would watch film and prepare for them so that he could take advantage of some of their flaws. And I just think that really speaks volumes. So even when he was drafted in the NBA, right, he was drafted 13. And so he even kept that shit where he's like, look, I should have been number one. I'm the best out there, and I'm going to prove everybody who skipped over me wrong. And it's just a really powerful statement. And so Kobe, when he was talking about some of the preparation that he also did, he said he wouldn't just prepare by watching video on the people that he was going to play against, people that ranked higher than him. He said that he would absorb only basketball, that he would read about basketball, that he would watch basketball. In his mind, he said he didn't quite have all the natural gifts that he felt other people had. He felt there was people faster than him, people that could jump higher than him, and people who were taller than him. I think he said that he was like 6'4" and like 160 pounds soaking wet when he was in high school. And so in his mind, he had to hone his skills of the craft, that was how he was going to outperform everyone else. So he said he worked on the angles and he worked making sure that he could just get to the ball a little bit quicker. And when he said that, it had reminded me of Wayne Gretzky. He actually said pretty much the exact same thing. They said, well, how were you one of the best hockey players ever? He said, well, it didn't have much to do with my natural abilities. He said, I just learned to get to the puck quicker than everyone else. And so Kobe was able to hone and work on his craft where he dedicated himself, where he always watched film, he always watched the greats, and he would mirror the shots. I'm sure you probably have seen some of those where they do like the side by side, where you could see one of Kobe's fadeaway jumpers. It was very clear that he was watching Jordan, that he was modeling Jordan, that he grew up watching Jordan, and that was who he was emulating early early on. And it was just really interesting how similar they were, and it just shows how much practice he put in mirroring the best that he could see, and then he kept working on it where he was able to bridge some of that natural talent gap. Because in his mind, if I don't have these natural abilities, well, if I can outwork you, if I can take more shots per day, if I can work on my craft, if I can prepare my mind, then I will be able to capitalize on the opportunity once we meet. And so most of the people probably didn't know that he was gunning for them and that he had prepared for them and that he had made a commitment to himself to let everybody know exactly who he was and how great he could be. That encapsulates some of the fact that you don't just get on the Mount Rushmore. It doesn't really matter how great people thought you were or what it is that other people say when they call you prodigy or this and that and the other. It comes down to your preparation. How willing are you to do what it takes to win? And so he made it very clear that in his mind that he was willing to do whatever it took. And if that meant taking 1,000 shots a day, if it meant watching 5 hours of video and then sitting in a nice cold bath because his body was falling apart, then he would do that. And interesting, they had asked him another question, and they said, "Okay, look, you injured your Achilles, you've messed up your knee, you have all these different injuries, and yet at different points you didn't just like fall down and be carried off the court. You would continue. Like if you were fouled, you would take your free shots just in case you thought you could come back in the game later. You'd wanted to take your free shots and then walk off the court." And they had asked him, they said, "Kobe, clearly when you tore your Achilles, for example, how did you get up? How were you able to overcome such a great amount of pain and suffering?" And Kobe said, "Well, the way that I look at it," he said, "if you were to, let's say, pull a hamstring and you're sitting at home and you're minding your own business and the doctor already told you stay off your leg, don't do anything, you got to take your time, allow yourself to heal, just kind of prop it up and ice it." He said, "Well, what would you do if your house caught on fire and your kids and your wife is upstairs?" He's like, "Would you listen to the doctor in that moment or would you get up and run up the stairs?" And then you'd get everybody and you'd run down the stairs and out the house. And he said, because we know that there are different situations where we will choose to kind of, I'll say, go to another level where we know that this is our limit and we accept that limit in most situations because there's no reason to dig any deeper. There's not a sense of urgency. He said, but what I did is I knew that I would do that in that situation, i.e., if I injured myself and my house was on fire, I would run and I would do whatever I could to save my family. He said, because I know that I would do it in that situation, he's like, I just basically told myself that I'm going to do that in any situation. And he said, for this particular time, he's like, I just basically had to tell myself that basketball was the most important thing that I could do at this moment. And because of that, I'm going to treat it as if it is a life and death situation. That when people are able to, people are being carried off the court and people are kind of not getting up when they're injured, he said that they don't really look at it the way that I look at it. And it's true, right? Like, how many times are you looking at the goal that you're trying to accomplish as a life or death situation where it is so important that you do it, that you would do anything necessary to accomplish the goal that you set for yourself? And it's because of that it's not happening as quickly as you would like, right? Like if we were able to have the same mindset that we told ourselves, that the same way, if my wife, my kids, my husband, my dog, whatever, my parents, whatever it is that's super important to you, that you knew that you only had 5 seconds to get there or else it's over, and you would get there in 3, no matter what situation that you were in, no matter how difficult it would be for you to get in that position across the town, you don't have your keys, whatever it is, you would make it happen. And he said that I just learned that I can tap into that in more of a concentrated way, we'll say, where it's not a reaction to my environment where it's like, hey, this is happening, I'm going to step up and do what I need to do. Instead, he said that instead of me reacting, he said that I was deciding that this is that similar moment, therefore, body, get up. And it's such a powerful reminder of what we are able to accomplish, that whatever it is that you are looking to accomplish, whether you're talking about something professionally where you want to start a company or you want to get a promotion or you want to apply for this new job, whatever it is, for whatever has been causing you to procrastinate on that, it's very clear that you don't have a life or death mindset on it. You always feel that there is another tomorrow. But if you knew, or at least if you believe that there was not a tomorrow, that if you don't make this change today, right now, that it would be gone forever, then most likely you would get up and you'd go. And the same in your personal life, whether you're talking about marriage or your kids or whatever that is, if you're telling yourself that there's always a tomorrow, then you don't have the sense of urgency needed to create the change that you want in your life, because there is always a tomorrow. But what about today, right? We got to get up, we got to go for it, and we have to say, you know what? This is what chasing happiness is in my life. This is what's important to me. This is what I'm going to do to accomplish it. Right? Where you wake up, if your plan was like, hey, I want to, go to church more often. I want to reconnect with God. Whatever your plan is, when Sunday comes and you don't feel like getting up, what is it that you tell yourself? Do you tell yourself that this is life or death and I need to get up? Or do you tell yourself we can try again next Sunday? Because if you're telling yourself you could try again next time, then you're going to always have a next time. And before you know it, we're going to be looking at 2021, January 1st, and you're going to have the same goal on your list. And I think that that's the most tragic aspect of all of our lives, is that we never really get to see what our life will look like if we actually accomplish one of our resolutions each year. Like, could you imagine for a second if you were able to transform one aspect of your life every single year, how your life would look in 5, 10 years, 20 years? Right? It's a powerful thought. Instead, we put ourselves in a position where we have the same resolution each and every year. So we have no idea what we would even work on next because we can't get past the first one. And I'm challenging you that if you are in that situation, then today is the day that you need to take action. Right, you've already seen what would happen when you wait till tomorrow, but let's see what would happen if you gave yourself that same sense of urgency, that you looked at whatever that is as a life or death situation, where it is not something that you're debating in your mind, something that you're questioning yourself, that you simply build that deadline in, where it's like, this is the day, my life isn't going to change on its own, and then I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for it. And it's just one of those beautiful aspects of Kobe's mindset, and you can see what happens when you have that sense of urgency, when you look at whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish in your life as a life or death situation. And then you'll see that when you look at it that way, that things change, that your environment changes, the people around you change, and people know that you're not like dipping one toe in and then pulling one toe out, and people know that it is going to be it's going to be hell or high water. That's going to be life or death. That is going to be all or nothing. Then people will look at you and say, okay, what can I do to help you? Because I can tell you're going to do it. Or at a minimum, I can tell that you're either going to die trying or you're going to accomplish it. And I just want to be a part of that journey. One, I care about you and I would like to see you succeed. So I want to help you succeed. And then two, I think you're going to do it. So I'd kind of want to be around, right? Like if you were able to hang out with Bill Gates when he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to start a computer company, you would be like, yeah, maybe I should hang out with him, right? If you were lucky enough to kind of have that moment and that foresight. And so you just want to be able to look at it that way. And so that'll be our mindset moment. And that I'll just share that Wednesday mindset, that overall, that wisdom that we always are striving for as we continue to work on accomplishing the goals that we have set for ourselves, and as we also strive towards greatness by chasing happiness. Until next time, continue blessings on your journey to become the champion of your life. And as always, better self, better wealth. Hey, thank you guys always for your time. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button. If you want to share it, I would appreciate that as well. Leave a comment, I'll respond. I'm often in and out, so I'll make sure I get in touch with you guys. If you'd rather listen to the audio, then you can go to the Change Blindness podcast. You can find that on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes Store, and then you can follow us there as well.